welcome to LawWiser. Today we're going to talk about something really interesting, which is to understand that what the role of an in-house legal counsel really entails, right? And we have with us today Saloni Tuteja. Just a quick introduction to her before I hand over this conversation. Saloni is currently Director Legal South Asia at Zimmer Biomet. In her career spanning about 14 years, she has worked with some of the top law firms such as Renfree Sagar and Dua and Associates before she moved into the role of an in-house legal counsel at a current company where she handles multiple markets. While in her stint as an in-house counsel, she has also been a compliance officer at Zimmer. So, hi Saloni, and a very warm welcome to LawWiser. I'm so excited to talk to you today.
Hi Lavanya, I'm equally excited. It's such an interesting topic to have a conversation on. And I think people who've been in law firm wonder what in-house is, and people in in-house think that, oh, law firm life is so different. So it'll be lovely to have a insight on that.
Yes. Okay, super. So Saloni, let's get right to it. Can you help us understand what your average workday looks like in a day? What all do you end up doing? What are your responsibilities like? What does a day in the life of a GC look like?
So a day in a in-house position is all about emails, especially post-COVID. There are a lot of calls, reviews, drafting, and lot of coordination. That's what we do, from executive point of view. But broadly, substantively, it's all about risk analysis and crisis management. Risk analysis is more of a proactive step, and crisis management is, of course, a reactive step. So that's what is our work. Of course, this can entail all dispute resolution, statutory compliances, ethical compliances. It can entail everyday corporate advisory work, so on and so forth. Also, there has been a lot of shift or changes post, or rather during the COVID situation. 2019 was more about meetings, and 2020 and onwards is more about online, getting used to Zooms and the WebExes of the world. So yeah, we're all learning, and especially lawyers. At least I am technologically handicapped. So for me, it's also been a learning phase.
I think we're all of us are evolving and learning a lot more about technology. I thought I'm fairly tech savvy till about a year back when I realized I'm not. Great. Okay, thank you. My next question actually to you is quite interesting. I want to understand, there is a lot of talk now about, and recognition rather, about the fact that how the role of an in-house counsel has evolved a lot over the years, right? Given how globalization and a lot of things are interconnected, a lot of crisis management, and just so much more that needs to be done, as parts of, I mean, it's sort of like being a business advisor, not just a legal advisor, is what I understand. So what are your views on that? And could you help us understand a bit about this?
So, Lavanya, it's a lovely question because, when I started my career, and maybe it's a very crude way of saying it, a lot of people thought or presumed in-house counsel as paper pushers, which has evolved drastically, as you've also noticed, in the last 10 to 15 years. Now, there's a joke that almost all the companies have a mini law firm running under them. And rightly so, is also, and there are various reasons because of that. One point or reason is globalization, like you mentioned. There's I love telling people this, that my first half of the day, or when I get up, all I get is Australian and Singapore emails. When around 9ish to 12 o'clock, it's all about my Indian team asking me questions, writing to me. Latter part of the day is the Europeans, it's their active time, so it's emails and conversations with them and my external counsel. And the late night is all about the US. So yes, there is a globalization. Yes, there is a lot of interaction with a lot of jurisdictions. How we have evolved other way is also there is a shift in gears in the way companies think. They are more on the proactive approach, which is risk analysis. Why to go for dispute resolution? Why not negotiate? Why not have a robust contract in place rather than tomorrow cribbing about the fact, oh, this was not covered. So statutory compliances, ethical compliances is another aspect which has really boomed in the last 5 years. None of the companies really want to be on the wrong side of the law. Another example where I thought GCs performed really, their role was magnified is that there has been a change specifically because I come from healthcare. I'll give you an example of price control. So price control orders on medical devices, example being knee implants or stent, came on just overnight, and it was made applicable the same day. So how you manage the stakeholders, there was impact financially, there was an impact on the business, it was an impact on statutory compliances, how you coordinated between themselves also while understanding the nuances of the industry as well as the asks of the company. So I think those shifting gears and those immediate action and reaction is what I think in-house counsels are very well equipped with. Again, I love the word that we are, business enablers. We are business advisors. So that's again, we don't need to. The business does not need to come with us with a lot of background information because we are a part of them. We are a part of their conversations. So we have a lot of background information for us to quickly jump into action. So those are the things, I think, nuances that in-house counsel have really worked well or glorified. And that's where the shift has in approaches, in perception has changed. In fact, most of the GCs today, if not, and yeah, of course, not everyone, but most of them are ex-law firms, partners, managing associates, is because is the substantive role and the importance that a GC holds today. GC or any in-house counsel, even I think associate level or legal counsel level is as important as a GC. So that's the shift in the mindset as well as of various people internally and externally. I hope I answered what your question was.
Yes, thanks. Actually, I mean, just an add-on to understand. So, what does the team look like currently at Zimmer? Like, how are you guys structured, and how do you go about handling the different markets?
So, I am responsible for Indian South Asian market or Indian subcontinent. We are relatively tiny in India. So we have a person who manages more of contracts. Then we have a compliance officer, and then I am there. My role is basically everything. From one day I'll be working on heavy dispute matters with my external counsel, and the other day I'll be, advising on price controls. The third day I'll be working with finance team on tax restructuring. So every day there are new challenges. Yes, of course, your client, so to say, stays the same. That's your company. Your industry remains the same, and that's a bit of a contrast from a law firm, where every day or maybe quite often you'll be working with different industries. Quite often you'll be working with different companies. In fact, Lavanya, there's another great change that I have personally seen in law firms is now law firms are becoming more focused on industries. I have seen, and this is a trend that I noticed in the US as well. Now law firms are portraying and highlighting their industry experience rather than practice experience. Because when I move and go to law firm, I am more interested in knowing, yes, you've done multiple matters in dispute resolution, but tell me what you've done in medical devices. So I think that gap that we initially had maybe 4 to 5 years or 10 years back, I think law firms are now have recognized this, and they are also they are now shifting their gears to that aspect that yes, let us have expertise over an industry rather than, limit ourselves to area practice.
Sure. Yeah, that's actually that's a very interesting input. Thanks for sharing that. And let's talk a bit about your transition. So after spending quite a few years, in a law firm setup, you moved to in-house counsel role at your current organization. So there are a few things that I'm keen to know. Firstly, what made you make that move? So what were the deciding factors behind that? Also, what were your initial days of transition like? And also now that obviously now you've spent quite a few years, at Zimmer. But looking back, do you feel that you were prepared for that change, or you really knew what to expect when you moved to an in-house role?
So, Lavanya, you take me back to 10 years now. So when I was a fresh graduate, I loved the idea of in-house. It seemed like a very glorious idea. And because I knew very few of them, so I was like, oh wow, working with bigger companies, it would be great. But then, because that was my very immature idea then, I will call it immature because I did not know what it entailed. But good, sometimes ignorance is also bliss. That worked in my benefit because I wanted to be in-house counsel. I kept my profile very wide, which was unlike, typically the approaches in a law firm. I was very fortunate that my partners and my associates and my colleagues let me have a wider exposure. While one day I would be working on dispute resolution, the other day I would be working on, international trade law, third day I would be working on anti-corruption. So yes, I thank Law Associate for giving me that exposure at a very young age. And that really helped me in my transition to Zimmer Biomet. So when you move to in-house, let me be very candid, nothing prepares you because the challenges, the ask, the expectation of law firm and in-house are quite different. Though both the sides of the fences entail or requires you to be a lawyer, but the skills are quite different. One of them I mentioned it to you is that as an in-house, you just have one client, which is your company. So, but the other aspect is that one client is very demanding, who expects you to know everything. You're a lawyer, so you need to know M&A, you need to know tax laws, you need to know everything. I think that's more if you're at the leadership position as a GC. Of course, when you're at a younger stage in-house, your practice or your area may be very limited. Maybe you're just doing contracts or maybe taxation. But as a GC role, and I entered as a GC role, a vehicle director role. So yes, the expectation of the company was that I should know everything. So yes, the initial 2 years, I got a very good, I was struggling as well as learning a lot because, again, I was not a transaction lawyer. So learning that or learning to approach the right people if you did not know the answer. That's again what I learned as an in-house counsel. I cannot emphasize enough about the soft skills in an in-house counsel because you are not interacting with lawyers on a daily basis. It can get lonely. I sometimes used to miss interacting with lawyers because you are more working with the business, with the finance, with HR, with logistics team. So that's again, you need to understand and appreciate for them. Legal jargons don't come naturally. They wouldn't understand the word prima facie completely. You need to tell them it's on the face of the things. So you'll have to, maybe mellow down your legal tone and tenor. So that's again what I learned as an in-house. You don't have court clerks to tell you. So you have to be your own court clerk. You have to be your own steno. You have to be your own executive assistant. So those are things that, you pick up as an in-house counsel. But I cannot thank enough about the kind of training that I got as a law firm person. Because law firm person, again, as a law firm associate, managing associate, whatever level you are, you tend to know how to immediately, snap out of one industry and move to the other industry. Like one day you'll be working with telecom, IT infrastructure, and the other day you'll be working with a publishing house. So, shifting yourself from one to the other, learning nuances from different industry, again, helps you get best practices from different industry and, sieve it and make it, bring it to your industry. So that's something that I learned as an law firm person. Again, being street smart, being is what you learn as a law firm person. Again, knowing the workings of the court really helped me. Being a dispute resolution made me a better corporate counsel as well. So those are the things. I think it's a very good marriage if you are a law firm person and then shift to in-house. I think that's each side of the fences teach you different skill set, and if you have both, then you're a happy person.
Thank you. So Saloni, before you go, I want to ask you, what according to you are the pros and cons when one compares the role and the career path of a lawyer, working in these two different settings, in a law firm and in an in-house role? Are there any comparable pros and cons? And because a lot of people ask this question, we get this a lot. So I thought, now that I have you, let me pose this question to you before you leave.
So, Lavanya, the first thing that I get usually asked about is there work-life balance more in in-house counsel? Let me tell you, that's not the case. You can attain this work-life balance anywhere that you go. As a law firm person, also, I used to take 2 annual leaves, and pre-COVID, I used to do the same thing in as an in-house person. So if a lot of people say the pros of in-house is the work-life balance, no, it's a personal choice that you need to exercise. It's where you need to cut your umbilical cord. Since this is my favorite, thing to enlighten people upon, so to say. So that's why I started with that. But otherwise, going back to your question originally, is that it is very unfair to say if one is better than the other. It is what you like better. What is your career objectives? What is your what really motivates you? Is you should go for that. Everything makes you earn money. Again, another thing is law firm, because a law firm maybe you earn more. It's not like that. I've seen there are no compensatory comparatives for the two. It is, if you can be earning X amount and be unhappy, and you can be earning X minus 1 amount and you can be very happy. So at the end of the day, whatever is your personal and professional objective and what suits you better, you should definitely go by that. But I can say for me, what really worked was that because I had a very good exposure in law firms and I was mentored by some great people, and most of them were women. And that exposure in law firm really helped me in my situation, in my current role as a legal director, as well as earlier as a compliance officer. So if you can taste both of the two sides, like I said, you'll be a happier person. At least that works for me, and maybe a better lawyer. But again, if you've always been an in-house person, that I have seen such brilliant lawyers who have been in-house. It again is, like I said, there is no comparative. Whatever suits your personality and your personal objectives, having exposure for both worked for me, but it may not work for somebody else. So it's a personal choice. Think about it, decide what works for you, and then take the decision.
Great, thank you so much. That was a really interesting discussion, and I'm sure that our viewers also going to really enjoy watching this video. Thank you so much, Saloni, for your time, and I hope that we're going to have you on LawWiser again very soon.
Thanks, Lavanya. It was lovely talking to you.